Welcome back, everybody. We've already discussed Michael Bloomberg's campaign for president. Some of America's other wealthiest men are trying to make their mark. Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos is throwing his wealth behind combating climate change. He says the $10 billion Bezos Earth Fund will back those working to mitigate the impact of global warming. Billionaires like Bezos have been stealing the spotlight lately. Mike Bloomberg is hoping to defeat his fellow billionaire Donald Trump, while other billionaires are arguing for more petty reasons. Elon Musk called fellow billionaire and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates underwhelming after Gates bought an electric Porsche instead of a Tesla. Of course, Musk made that statement on billionaire Jack Dorsey's social media site, Twitter. Darrell West is the Director of Governance Studies at Brookings. He's also the author of Billionaires, Reflections on the Upper Crust. He joins us live now. Darrell, thank you so much for being with us. So just walk us through the landscape right now in terms of the role that billionaires play in terms of influencing our society currently.
Well, billionaires are setting the agenda on many aspects of politics and public policy. I mean, you just talked in the last segment about the 2020 campaign. Donald Trump, a billionaire, is president. Michael Bloomberg, a billionaire, is challenging him. Already has spent over $400 million on advertising. In a lot of respects, that election is going to become a referendum on great wealth in America. Bernie Sanders is casting his whole campaign against billionaires and excessive wealth, proposing a wealth tax in order to fund various types of public services. And so in a lot of respects, billionaires are really the people who are setting the agenda across a wide variety of topics.
So then, do you think that it's Donald Trump being president that has now sort of changed the landscapes in terms of how we look at billionaires and what we expect of them in terms of shaping our society?
I mean, Trump is merely the symptom. The longer-term force that is dictating what's happening now is high income inequality. You have to go back nearly 100 years, at least in the United States, in order to have income inequality as high as what we see now. So our political debate is quite polarized around issues of great wealth. We have some candidates who are actively campaigning against that wealth, saying this is the reason ordinary Americans are doing poorly, the system is rigged against them. All of these issues would be addressed if we just raised taxes on the wealthy and funded more services for the middle class. So the issue of big money is really at the core of many of the major policy debates that we're facing right now.
Bernie Sanders says there should be no billionaires in the United States. Do you agree with that statement?
I wouldn't say there shouldn't be zero billionaires, but there certainly is a reasonable debate over tax policy. The last 40 years have basically seen the corporatization of American politics, with taxes being cut on corporations, taxes being cut for the ultra wealthy. And I think it's certainly a reasonable question in terms of whether tax rates are too low. We know that the public sector is starved, that many people need help in terms of access to education, access to health care. It's one of the reasons why there's so many proposals for free education and Medicare for all, that people are seeing those types of programs as a way to address these issues of great wealth.
Michael Bloomberg has just qualified for the Democratic debate tomorrow night. In this current environment, on the one hand, you have Donald Trump, who's a billionaire, as president. On the other hand, you have the Democratic Party, more progressive than it ever has been. Does being a billionaire help him or hurt him?
Well, Michael Bloomberg certainly is going to be the punching bag in this upcoming debate, because it's going to be his first time on the debate stage. Bernie Sanders certainly is going to want to make a great issue of Bloomberg's wealth, because that's the whole essence of the Sanders campaign, that there's too much inequality and we need to tax those individuals in order to provide needed services. But I think Bloomberg is going to make the argument, and you've heard his spokesperson make a variation on this, that in an age of great public cynicism, when people don't trust ordinary politicians, he's going to argue, basically, he is too rich to be bought. He's going to try and turn his wealth into a political asset. He's going to say, I have $52 billion. You don't have to worry about petty corruption under my regime. And so I think that will provide a lot of the basis of debate during the discussion this week.
The fact that he is a billionaire, does that mean that voters will look to him and say, wow, this is a man who has the most chance in this field of being able to stand up to President Trump?
I mean, there's actually a lot of evidence that even though people have great concerns about high income inequality, they actually like wealthy individuals. We've elected many wealthy individuals. The U.S. Senate is filled with multi-millionaires. And so people basically like wealthy individuals who are self-made. You know, unlike Donald Trump, who inherited a lot of money at the beginning of his career, Michael Bloomberg is self-made, built his own business, created jobs in the process. So he's basically going to spin that side of wealth, that he made his own money, that he worked hard, that he had innovative ideas, and that he can bring that same sense of innovation to the public sector. And there's a lot of evidence that Americans like that type of wealth.